a recent announcement, Neuralink has confirmed that they are actively recruiting the first human test subjects for their N1 brain-computer interface device and R1 surgical robot procedure. The company revealed that an independent institutional review board has granted them full approval to begin the process of selecting their first ever human patients for a clinical trial which is now known as the PRIME study, short for Precise Robotically Implanted Brain-Computer Interface. This will be a groundbreaking investigational medical device trial of Neuralink's fully implantable wireless brain-computer interface, and it's expected that the first human trial will take up to 6 years for Neuralink to complete and verify their findings. The primary study period will take place over the first 18 months after the device has been implanted. Patients will check in with a medical team every 2 months to monitor progress and ensure the Neuralink device continues to work as intended. 1-hour BCI research sessions with the Neuralink team will be completed at least 2 times per week for every patient for the duration of the 18-month primary study. The long-term follow-up phase of the trial begins immediately after the primary study and will continue with 4 clinical visits per year over the course of the next 5 years. The aim of the PRIME study will be to evaluate the safety of both the N1 implant and R1 surgical robot, then assess the initial functionality of the Neuralink technology for enabling people with full body paralysis to control external devices with their thoughts. One of the most fascinating aspects of this study will be the first use of the Neuralink R1 robot on a human patient. The R1 is a sewing machine-like device that places the N1 implant's ultrafine and flexible threads into the motor cortex of the brain. This is the area that controls your intention of movement. Each patient in the study group, which will likely be around 10 people at most, probably less, will have a flap of skin cut away from their skull by a human surgeon who will then use a cutting tool to remove a circular section of the skull just large enough to fit the Neuralink device. From there, the surgeon may or may not also remove the layer of soft tissue that separates the brain from the skull. This is known as the dura. And Neuralink has said in the past that early versions of their procedure have not been able to penetrate through the dura layer, and that necessitates the removal. But future updates to the procedure will allow the protective dura to stay in place, and the threads of the Neuralink device will penetrate through the layer as well. At this point, the Neuralink will use an advanced targeting computer to place a total of 64 electrode threads directly into the outer layer of the brain, penetrating only a couple of millimeters deep. This will be done with a level of precision that avoids any rupture of the blood vessels that flow through the brain tissue. Once the threads are inserted, the N1 device is placed inside the void of the skull, and the skin flap is replaced and sewn shut. The first of its kind surgical procedure will allow the N1 implant to be cosmetically invisible underneath the patient's skin, while still being able to transmit and record brain signals wirelessly through Bluetooth connection to Neuralink's own smartphone app that will decode the movement intention from the cortex and translate it into computer input commands. The initial goal of the PRIME study is to grant people the ability to control a computer cursor and keyboard using their thoughts alone. Neuralink founder Elon Musk was quick to promote the Neuralink trial on his social media platform now known as X. Elon wrote, "The first human patient will soon receive a Neuralink device. This ultimately has the potential to restore full body movement." Musk also sees the opportunity to remind people that his long-term goal with Neuralink has always been and continues to be a device that will bridge the gap between the human brain and artificial general intelligence.
When I was a girl, I was procured and sent to work for a family. There was a boy, the boy's mother, and the boy's grandfather. They were coming from Africa. They were white as me. I thought they'd be black. And because of something the boy did, I never told what he did. The boy did something very dark when he was very little. And then one day I asked someone in the circle, Imelda, Joaquin's mother, I asked Imelda, I said, is he the Antichrist? I was 13 years old. She didn't even blink. She said, no, but he will present the mark. And when you see him do that, the Antichrist will take the stage. So, now here we are, 40 years later. Boom, that boy is the star of the world. The boy's name then was El Elyon. It's changed over time. We're 40 years later. And I see that boy everywhere, and the world adores him, but he's the king of Babylon.
Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yashai, Ba'Shem Rakak Wadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. So in today's lesson, we're going to talk about the recent update that just happened with the Neuralink brain implant. But before we get into that, let's read this. This is Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666. That's 666. So, as we just watched in this video, we got the details of what the FDA just approved, and that now we see that the Neuralink is going to start human trials. So, with that being said, in the video you heard that they're shooting for a 6-year trial period, which means that they'll be done with the trials and testing and have all the research they'll need by the year 2029. Now, I'm sure we're going to get some sort of emergency exception, and there's going to be certain things that are going to be rushed through, and it'll likely be available before then. But again, with current details, this brain chip is slotted to come out in 2029. Now, that may sound like a lot, but you got to remember, right? A lot of us remember when 9/11 took place, and that was about 20 years ago. So, time flies, Akim, especially in these days. The Lord is doing a lot of things and making a lot of prophecies come true. And that in turn is making these Edomites panic, which is causing them to bring forward a lot of their agendas, which is why we've seen so much take place and so many changes in the world and pushing for new laws and regulations. Esau is hurrying to bring forward his NWO because he knows that his time is short. And in that video, you heard him explain how this chip is going to bring forward all these miracles and all these benefits to people who take it. It made it sound as if it was going to be a benefit to those who have it. But again, what does the Bible tell us about trusting these people that the Bible tells us are our enemies? This is Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rutheth, so is his wickedness. And as you've seen Elon's nanny, right, when she was 13, she knew him. And as she said, she witnessed a dark thing that he did when he was young. And that a family friend or member straight out told her that he was going to present the mark, and that soon after that the Antichrist would appear. Now we all know that there is not one singular Antichrist, but that there are many Antichrists. Right? Even in the time of the Messiah, when he was here, there was many Antichrists in the world at that time. Now that being said, these devils are going to try to have somebody come out on the scene to be the leader of this new world order. And I wouldn't put it past these devils to have them present somebody like King Charles or some sort of new fabricated superstar to come on the scene who's going to have all the charm and wisdom and knowledge that the media presents him with, just like they did with Barack Obama, and have him lead this new world order into Esau's planned kingdom. But again, that is not going to be the main Antichrist, though he may be an Antichrist. It's, again, the Bible does not talk about one specific Antichrist. There's many Antichrists. Now next, as it tells you here, Elon Musk's Neuralink is recruiting patients for its first human trials. Let's just read some of the highlights. It says the neural tech startup Neuralink has received approval to begin recruiting patients for its first in-human clinical trial. The company is building a brain implant that aims to help patients with severe paralysis control external technologies using neural signals. The initial goal of your biometric chip implant is to grant people the ability to control a computer cursor or keyboard using their thoughts alone, Neuralink wrote on a blog post. And just like it says, you go to Neuralink's website and you can actually go to the patient registry application. It tells you right here, look, this is it. So you can see, man, these devils are moving fast, and this mark of the beast, it's gonna be here any day. We've already seen basically prototypes for it, but remember, it's when the chip is tied to the system that Esau is setting up. That's gonna be involved with all this cashless society, the CBDC, which is gonna be a worldwide system. We're already seeing all the components being pushed out and worked on and developed in front of our very eyes. We're seeing the beast system along with the microchip being developed. Now, the RFID implantable chip, it's already set up. The inventor of the chip, Colonel Sanders, I've posted a video a couple weeks ago where he actually comes out. He's a converted Christian. He comes out and he gives a testimony to how they developed it and how it's ready to go. Well, the next thing is these brain implants. Now, again, Neuralink is not the only company that's working on these brain chips. There's other companies, and I think I forgot the company's name, but the other main brain chip company have already received approval and are already testing it out. So as we go on, Akim, as things go forward, we're going to see more and more updates and more examples of these chips being used to help those who are paralyzed, disabled, or who just want biometric enhancements. And as we go forward, a lot of these false prophets out here, these false camps like the IUIC, ICPK, they're going to have a hard time trying to explain what the mark of the beast is when it's being made very evident that these chips here are going to set up this beast system and be the mark of the beast. Okay? Because again, the way it's going to go down from what all the analysts have talked about, people like Aaron Russo and just other, theorists, they say that there's going to be a collapse of the money system, which we're already seeing taking place. Then once the money system collapses, Esau is going to bring forward the new money system. This is going to be tied to the digital dollars, the CBDCs, right? And at first, they're going to allow you to use your phones, credit cards to interact with the system, but then there's going to be some sort of event that's going to require a biometric verification step. And this is going to be, maybe an eye scan, maybe a finger scan, a palm reader, like what you see with Amazon. But eventually, it's going to go to an implantable microchip, either in your hand or your forehead, as the Bible says. And this is going to be compulsory method that you're going to have to do to get a verifiable chip, so that way you can interact in this beast system that Esau's setting up. Without this, you're going to have to just be without society or not partake in all these benefits that Esau is pushing. This is Matthew's 24 and 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Right? Now, what this tells you here, man, is that there's going to come Messiah-like figures, people who are going to come out during the end times, and they're going to be seen as saviors or messiahs, Christ. People who are going to bring forward a good future. People like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, all these people of the world today which are thrusted upon the media system, right, in the news, all over the TV. They're basically made idols that are seen as somebody who's going to save us from these corrupt old systems, right? And Elon Musk is a perfect example, right? When you look into his background, you'll find that he's not really a genius. He's just extremely well connected and has a good business sense. The company Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, these were all companies that were purchased and he ultimately was put in charge of. Now, that being said, remember, Esau is the devil, and he has this plan set up from a long time ago. And in doing so, he has set up his actors, he has set up his players. This is why you see old images and videos of Elon Musk back when he was working at PayPal and making his money there. Right? This is why he came out on the news and he was all connected to the system. Because why? Well, because he is simply one of the actors in Esau's grand scheme. And what is that? To bring forward the microchip brain implant, which is the mark of the beast. And again, it's going to be more than just Neuralink. It's going to be all these brain chip companies, along with all these other chip implant companies. And we've already seen so many of them. There's Verichip, Dangerous Machines, and whatnot. And again, I'm sure there's going to be even more. Just like the jab, how there's different manufacturers of it, there's going to be different manufacturers of the MOTB. And it's going to be up to us to basically stay away from all of them. Right? Do not let the beast trick you. Because again, it tells you here, right, that there's going to come false messiahs that are going to basically subdue and trick the majority of the people, right? Even so much that if it was possible, they would even fool the elect. But again, the elect are not going to be fooled. They're going to escape out of this. They're going to see the microchips for what they are, and they're going to refuse them, and they're going to step out of society. But the rest, the 2/3 plus the rest of the heathens of the world, they're going to see these microchips and they're going to think that they're the next best thing to slice bread, and they're going to take it. That way they could, open the car door or open their house with just a swipe of their hand. See, these people fall for these gimmicks, but not the elect. This is Revelations 14 and 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast or his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And their smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever ever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahweh Shai. So there you go, Akim. We see the devil bringing forward the MOTB, getting all the systems in place, getting all the components ready to go. And they're going to go ahead and, one day they're going to come out and tell you that this chip's available. And it's going to be our job to stay away from it. That and inform all those people that you care about not to get this chip. Now, ultimately, it's up to the Lord if they're going to avoid it. But again, you got to remember, these devils, just like these jabs they tied it to people's jobs, going places, traveling, and a lot of people, they folded and they took it, and now they're regretting it, but it's too late. And that's going to be the same scenario when they bring out these MOTB, right? A lot of people are going to take it, and then they're going to regret it later on, and like it says here, they're going to ultimately regret it with their own lives. So hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rakakodash. Shalom.